Test. There we go. Alright, I think we're good to go. Mute that stuff. And welcome to Twitching with Tristenkw5. As we go into the top 25 anime of the century, as in since 2000, because it is the 21st century, and we are a quarter of the way through, so I figured it'd be fun to do stuff's popping up. It'd be fun to do. So last week I did the top 10 anime of the year, which I normally do at the end of every year, but with this being 2025, I figured I'd do some extra weeks on the top 25 of the century in both anime and games. This week is anime. Next week, we'll be covering starting games for the top 10 games of the year. And then the last week of December, in theory, will be top 25 games of the century. So, with that all said, we don't really have to spend a lot of time explaining the process. I don't really necessarily want this to take a very long time, although it'll take however long I feel like. But I don't think I think anime is going to be pretty quick and easy. To the point where I don't even have to, maybe I don't even have to grab a drink for my throat before it gets dry. Alright, I paused everything else. I got the chat open. I've started the list. This is my anime list, so this is the list of all the anime I've ever watched, and I'm going to sort them by score, and I'm going to use the info on this site to help me make sure I don't put anything in that is made before the year 2000, but I feel like I have a pretty decent eye, or a pretty decent understanding of the years they come out, but also I can just hover my mouse and see. So we're only considering things from the 2000s. There's going to be a couple of rules, but let me finish my setup for where we're going to keep track of all this. Top 25 anime, nope, capital A, anime of the century. I've typed that in so many times in the last couple of minutes. Okay. Is there any other colors? Show numbers this time. Show shadows, sure. Yeah, this is fine. Alright. I'm coming up with these rules as I go, but I feel like the basics are we're going to focus on series / IP. I don't think I want to include movies. I think it's less interesting if I include movies. But we'll see how I feel once we get to 25. I've done no prep. I wanted to go into this pretty blind, as in I didn't come and look at my list and look at the top 25 of my list to get an idea of what would be there. Aside from, doing how much I saw the list last week when I did the top 10 of the year, which means I only really looked at anime from this year, I haven't done any prep on, do I have a lot of movies in my top 25? Do I have a lot of this or that? I'm just going off of what I think is going to be the best for the list at the end. Like, if somebody looks at this list, I want it to be more of a useful thing about pulling out what I feel like about anime as a whole, versus getting down to the nitty-gritty of like, well, this season of this anime was better than this season of this anime. So, for example, we're not going to consider individual seasons of anime. We're going to try to score think of the anime as a whole when it goes onto the list. Because my anime list, after a certain point, started, or after a certain point in anime history, like after a certain, like, when anime kind of moved away from one big long show that goes on forever to 2 cours a year, as in like 12 episodes in like the spring and then 12 episodes in like the winter or the fall. My anime list started keeping track of individual seasons as far as scoring. So we're gonna focus on all, like, for example, all of the seasons of My Hero, not the individual seasons of My Hero. The other thing we have to take into consideration, well, I guess it doesn't matter for, well, yeah, it does matter. I'm going to avoid anime that aren't done yet, but no, I can't even say that. There are going to be anime that aren't done yet on this list. I already know that for a fact. And I feel okay with doing that because even if the rest of the anime goes to shit, which has happened, if I feel like it deserves to be on the list from just one season, it probably means it made a big enough impression on me that I feel good about that. A good example would be, or the example that I'm thinking of would be The Promised Neverland. I don't know if that's going to make the top 25. It's got a decent chance. But everything, we don't talk about season 2 of The Promised Neverland. If The Promised Neverland's last episode was the end of season 1, it is a pretty great anime. And then season 2 happened, and nobody talks about season 2. It's one of the worst season 2s in all of anime history. It is like the quickest descent from quality, mostly because of changes they made to the source material, pacing changes. I think it gets into some character changes. They really rushed through the rest of the story. They skipped some arcs. I didn't even watch past a couple of episodes in after I heard from the manga readers how far off the beaten path it was going. So even with all that said, I would still consider The Promised Neverland for the list. But thinking about the anime that it has to go up against, now that I think about how far back to 2000 it really goes, who knows? I'm going to see what ends up being more interesting. I think I'm going to go off of original air date in Japan, just to be consistent. So, for example, Toonami didn't really start here in the States showing anime, or Toonami / Adult Swim mostly started showing anime here in the States in the early 2000s, early to mid 2000s. But they would show anime that came out years ago, whereas years and years old. My go-to example is probably going to be Yu Yu Hakusho. I bet Yu Yu Hakusho, let me find it in the list and just take a look at it. I bet Yu Yu Hakusho originally came out, yeah, it originally came out in 92. I bet that it didn't air in the US until after 2000. Would be my bet. So, it doesn't qualify underneath this rule because the original anime was actually a 90s anime, and we're trying to look at anime that were created and released after the turn of the millennium. Well, obviously they could have been working on it in 99 and then released it in 2000, but so mostly released to air in Japan on or after the year 2000, starting January 1, 2000 and ending December 31st, 2025. Arguably. Probably. There's not many anime that I think are going to that have even kind of a reach to the list that would be still running right now. Well, that's not true. Because I'm in my mind, I'm just thinking of My Hero because its final season is running right now. But others are like, their seasons are coming out like early next year or whatever, their continuations or their final seasons or whatever, like Demon Slayer, for example. It still has 2 more movies. But overall, I'm going to avoid single one-off movies unless I feel like they are really important for the list, or if it says something really important. in some way. Or if I just kind of come up short. I don't really want to put anime on this list. If all those rules end up filtering out anime that I feel deserve a spot, then I might start. I'd rather put some movies on the list than put shows that I feel like don't rise to the occasion of being on such a list. When did Samurai Champloo come out? Okay, it came out in 2004, so that's fair game. That's what I thought. All right. Anyway, I think that's all the rules I can think of. If I think of any more, or if chat wants to put me on any other ideas, or thinks of any other kind of like side cases, let me know. Let me put out a chat to let people know. Okay, put out the word just in case somebody wants to come by in chat. All right. With all that out of the way, I think we can actually start getting down to work. Now, we're just going to start from the top and work our way down. Be aware the score does not necessarily determine final placement. That's not really a rule. That should just be like a logical thing. Because this is just sorted by whatever I scored them at the time. Maybe my feelings have changed. Maybe in this smaller context, I feel like their score means something different. But really, what we're mainly trying to do, I imagine, is going to be all of my 10 out of 10s are going to make the list. All of my 9 out of 10s are going to make the list. It's going to be a war among the 8 out of 10s. And I don't think that we'll have to go down to 7s. That's my main thing. But I don't know how many separate seasons make up that percentage of that top crust of my list. So that might get narrowed down in a way that I don't see coming, and then we might start hitting 7s. So we'll deal with it when we get there. But without getting more into detail, let's start putting stuff down. So like Fooly Cooly, FLCO, that's going on the list somewhere. Gurren Lagann is going on the list. So 2 A's. Oops. No, it's 1 A. 2 A's. There we go. I'm just gonna put Haruhi Suzumiya. Yeah. Because this is a 10 out of 10 movie, but I don't think the overall show is a 10 out of 10. I think the show is a 9. This is the first season or the whole show? This is probably the whole show. Well, no, I saw it again down here somewhere. What's this? This must be the second season. Either way, overall, it's gonna make the list somewhere. The Monogatari series. Monogatari series. Man, it's been so long since I've had to say it out loud. Monogatari series, not Monogatari. No, yeah. No, I got it. That was right. Those are going to be obvious on the list. JoJo's is going to obviously be on my list. I'm going to pick that picture as the rep. Okay, yeah, that is the overall. It's got multiple JoJo's on there, so I get the point across. Naruto will probably be on the list. The Ocean Cut. I wonder what that is. So, for example, we're going to count Naruto and Naruto Shippuden as one series. That seems pretty obvious. Man, I need to watch Full Metal Alchemist. I need to watch that again. Or I need to watch the recent remake, Brotherhood. I need to watch Brotherhood to put that back on. I really don't remember much about My Hero. I mean, Full Metal. I remember all this stuff, but I don't remember like the details that would really help on this kind of a list, but we'll see. Bakuno's making the list. Katana Gachari's making the list. Ooh, One Punch Man. Okay, we're gonna put it on. You know what I need? I need some drop-off spots. We're going to add one more row just in case I need some overlap, or I need some movement space for like some overflow. We need some overflow space for like, well, these aren't going to make the list, or I need some spaces where I can put stuff that I'm like, oh, actually, this is going to get dropped off. Konosuba. Probably going to make the list. I feel pretty good about that. Spin-offs don't count unless... Spin-offs would only count if I think that the spin-off is better than the main series, and the main series is not needed. So, for example, if the Megumin spin-off season was good enough on its own to where I thought that it was worth watching without watching anything else from Konosuba, then I may put the spin-off season specifically in situations like that. I don't think there's any situations like that will come up, but I'm just getting ahead of myself to make that decision now, just in case. My Hero will probably be in contention. Made in Abyss. You know, it would probably be easier instead of flipping back and forth. Let me just two-window this. There we go. This is nice. This is nice. There's no left and right scroll, right? 21. Oh no, there is. Oh no. But the other side isn't working with me. That's fine. I'll figure it out. What if we just zoom out this side? There we go. There we go. I can read that. You can't. I can. I'm the only one who needs to. Nobody can read what's happening right now, but I can read it. This part, we don't need to read too much. I can just tell from like the pictures that we're looking at, and I can see the text. You can probably, if you're on a phone, you're fucked. If you're watching this on a phone, this is not gonna look like anything to you, and I don't feel sorry for you. You can figure it out later. But when we get to the main part of ordering things, I'll make sure that it's big and we can really see everything. But for right now, I'm doing this for me, so you'll live with it. March comes in like a lion. Definitely making the list, probably. Pop Team Epic. We'll see. We haven't gotten out of the 9s yet, which is a little bit surprising, but only a little bit. Promare, not necessarily. Mob Psycho. What a jump. I didn't, when I first watched Mob Psycho, I didn't necessarily jump on it. But, is this gonna work? Okay, cool. I didn't necessarily love it, and then it grew on me. Oh man, Attack on Titan. Kaguya-sama. Man, I didn't realize I had so many 9s. But we're getting down to it, kinda. We only got like 7 more spots left. Love is War. Kaguya-sama Love is War makes the list. Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Maybe this is gonna be more of a war of 9s than 8s. I thought I'd have like 15 max 10s and 9s, even after filtering out all the separate seasons and stuff. Oh, we might be fucked. Free Ren. That should be enough. Gonna make the list. 4 more. Okay, yeah, we are getting down. Okay, so we did at least hit the 8s. I feel better about it if we hit some of the 8s. Because that means that this will be a little bit harder for me. But it also does mean the majority of this, I've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 10s, as I expected. I have 5 anime that I've considered 10 out of 10 anime, which I might reassess in my old age, maybe next year or something like that. That's not a time for this month, but down the line I might do like a audit of my anime list scores and see if things have moved up or down score-wise in my mind. Cowboy Bebop is an example of that, where Cowboy Bebop kind of ages well with time. Like, I value Cowboy Bebop more as time goes on. But when I was a kid, when I was a teenager watching it, I really didn't care for it. I didn't care about it, so... oops, don't need it twice. Oh, that was amazing. I didn't know that there was going to be an X there. I just accidentally clicked it. Yeah, see, this is where we're getting down to it, because, like, Mobile Fighter G Gundam, I don't think that that's gonna hang. I don't think that that's gonna... I don't think that needs to be on the list. Not that specific season of Gundam, anyway. Where is... Okay, no, you know what? This is gonna get rough. Because now, what I'm realizing... Oh, also, is G Gundam even 2000s? No, it is not. So it was not... Oh, actually, neither was Cowboy Bebop. I forgot about that. Cowboy Bebop was pre-2000 in Japan. I don't even know for sure if I knew that. If you had asked me, I probably would have guessed 90s, because it looks kind of 90s, but I wouldn't. If you had told me otherwise, I would have believed you. Okay, maybe this isn't too hard. Well, so now what I have to do, all my 9s are probably should be on the list, just by logic. Unless there was something that I felt like doesn't need to be a 9 anymore, but nothing stood out to me in that case. So now we need to pick out the 8s that need to be talked about. Because this is all these are 8s. Everything you see on your screen right now, these are all my 8s. I rarely watch shows. Oh my god, this is gonna be so hard. This part is actually well, this is not gonna be so hard, but this is gonna be, I have to pick 4 anime now out of fucking jeez, we're still in the 8s. Okay. This is number 194. Between 194 and 37. Between 37 and 194 are all my 8s out of 10s. And I have to pick out 4 of them to make the bottom of the top 25 anime of all time. I mean, a lot of these are going to be, okay, you know what we can do to whittle that down? We're going to filter out anything that was made before 2000. We're just going to get them off the list. Give me the filter then. Here we go. Airing date start in 2000. That'll help whittle it down. Let's do this smart. I don't care where you end. I just want ones that have started after 2000. So that should be the majority of this list, minus stuff like, yeah, so Cowboy Bebop is gone, Yu Yu Hakusho is gone. I think the filter worked. Most of the stuff that's still here is stuff that I expected to still see, and some of the stuff that's gone is also expected. Oh wait, you know what? Naruto. Was Naruto... Okay, no, Naruto started in 2002. Okay. I thought maybe the very first season of Naruto may have been an edge case, but no, we're safe there. Okay, so that does help. Rekka 7? No, that doesn't. Wow. I didn't know Rekka 7 was so late. I thought it was going to be like a little bit earlier in 2000 than that, but that's cool. Okay, that should help narrow this down. Let me scroll down the list now. I mean, it doesn't help a lot, but it helps. Instead of 194, the first 7 pops up at 187. Really didn't help a ton. But also, a lot of these are going to be a lot of seasons of stuff. So like, a bunch of the seasons of Attack on Titan are going to be in my 8s. A lot of the seasons of Rascal Does Not Dream, all the seasons of Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai are in here. So a lot of this is going to be repeats of smaller seasons. So we're looking for, oh shit, man, Heavenly Delusion maybe, but that's not done. So now we're getting into, this is the nitty gritty. We're really in the nitty gritty now to even just make the list, and then we have to order it. So this is going to be fun. Okay, let's start with how I feel about putting stuff on the list. So, my feelings I'm going to say out loud for this part, because it's also going to play a part in ordering. What I value in anime. If I say it out loud, it'll help me going forward when I start making these picks, and also for people to understand if they want to try to, if they're watching and they want to try to help me make decisions or point out things that I might have forgotten. Anime that are complete gets a buff. I'm going to talk about this in terms of buffs and debuffs, in terms of like how I feel about the situation. Anime that are completed and are not going to get any more episodes, no more episodes needed. That's a buff for this list, because I like knowing okay, this entire project is done, and this is how I feel about this entire project. Which is the reason why. Well, that's not the reason. I should point out, because somebody's going to, not somebody, but I want to say here, like, One Piece, I think, is a top 25 anime of the century. But I didn't watch enough of One Piece to consider myself having watched it. I watched, like, the first 2 arcs, the first 2 or 3 arcs when I was a kid, as far as, like, episode to episode goes, and even that had holes in it. But I just knew what happened in those early arcs as a kid. But also it was like the 4Kids version, and it wasn't really like the anime, and blah blah blah. But also, that's such a small fraction of that overall series that I wouldn't feel comfortable putting it on my list. That's the main thing, is this is my list. I am taking into consideration an anime or series' overall importance and stuff, as far as it means something to me. So One Piece, I think, should go on super high on any list of top 25 anime in general. Time period be damned. But I didn't watch that show, and it's important, but that is not to rise to the point of importance to where I would skirt rules to get it onto the list. So that's the first thing. So that's the first buff, is you're completely done. And I just thought about that because One Piece is obviously not done, so it came to mind, but it doesn't really apply since it's not going to go on the list anyway. But that would be an example of like, well, I think this is a top 25 anime if I did watch it, but it's nowhere near done, or we don't know when it's going to be finished, and the ending could fucking fuck it all up. So One Piece, or not One Piece, being done is a buff. Being an original anime is a buff, and what I mean by that is this is an anime that was made as an anime. You did not adapt a manga. You didn't adapt a light novel. It was an anime made specifically to go straight onto TVs. That's a buff. Because a lot of those anime end up being really interesting. A lot of those anime end up being really well animated. They usually have more going on than adaptations from manga. Obviously, that's subjective, and obviously that's on a scale, like that's on a sliding scale. But I just mean to say that usually original straight-to-TV anime are super interesting and high quality. So that's going to be a buff from me. I think shows that are high quality over longer spans of time, over more seasons, more episodes, are going to be a buff, versus anime that are only good, like, versus really, really fucking good, like, 12 episode anime. But that'll kind of be a little bit more subjective based on what we're comparing. And then anime that mean a lot to me personally are obviously going to get like a buff. So a good example of that is Death Note probably is going to go on this list. Because I really don't feel like it couldn't. I feel like this list can't not have Death Note on it. But the only reason Death Note is an 8 instead of a 9 is because its second season sucks. Its second season is pretty rough. It's not as rough as The Promised Neverland second season, which is why I'm swapping these two. The Promised Neverland is an anime that I keep in the same, like I mentioned, in the same breath as Death Note in terms of like what they're about. And they're very similar cases, but Death Note's second season is not nearly as bad as Promised Neverland's second season. And really just the first season of Death Note alone is classic and important in ways that are going to make it get higher than its score entails. Let's put it that way. So I'm kind of putting it in a warm spot for right now. I really shouldn't be doing that before we get bigger so you guys can see easier what the fuck I'm doing, but fuck you guys, I'm doing what I want. I'm making this easier for me. Anyway, let's keep going down the list. I don't want to have to add another row. I guess I should go down and I should add anything that I feel like I'm pretty certain I would feel bad if it didn't make the list. I think that's the best. We're just going to have to go off of that vibe. That's going to be the quickest, easiest way to do this. So, Soul Eater is debuffed by never really finishing the story in anime form. Not really. I think it comes close, but I don't think it makes the list. Hunter x Hunter, anime that have had. Well, no, I think Hunter x Hunter is completely in bounds because I was about to say they had like an earlier series, and I don't know how early the original series was, but I still think it was after 2000. I'm pretty solidly sure the earliest Hunter x Hunter anime was early 2000s. And then there was the Madhouse remake that I watched that came out in apparently 2011. I didn't realize it came out that late. So that means it's all in bounds. Hunter x Hunter should probably go on the list. Hunter x Hunter should probably go on the list, especially when I think about the fact that it pretty much is finished. I know that it. Do I have to put the? No, I don't. I know that the manga keeps going after where the anime stops, but for me, man, that anime's done. That anime stopped at the perfect time. I had no more questions left. The bad guys that I needed beaten were beaten. That anime is complete in my head. So it's probably gonna make my list. Even though I didn't watch it until late. I didn't watch it until 2020 during COVID when I had all the time to watch another like fucking 150 episode anime or whatever. But we'll see. Maybe there'll be something else I feel stronger about that knocks it off. Steins Gate, man, I don't feel. I should rewatch Steins Gate, or if they have some kind of recent version of it, I should probably watch it because I don't feel as strong about Steins Gate as other people talk about Steins Gate, and it makes me feel bad. But there are people who fucking act like Steins Gate is the second coming of Anime Christ. Like it is. I know it's considered a classic, but I don't feel why it's a classic in the same way that I do other classic anime for whatever reason. But that's mostly a me thing. I came to it pretty late. And I really don't know where it sits in terms of anime history, in terms of like what it did with its story, where it sits on other stories in anime that have done it. Maybe it's like one of the first big visual novel game adaptations to really do it well, or something like that. Either way, I'm gonna blink on Steins Gate. I don't get that vibe from it. Log Horizon has some really unfortunate later seasons. Kill la Kill is an example of a project that I really... There are better Trigger projects if I'm going to try to force something onto the list. I didn't talk about it earlier on, but Hajime no Ippo. I wonder if I think the earliest Hajime no Ippo started was in the 90s, as far as the anime goes. So I don't think it's really in contention. And regardless, I don't think it's going to make my personal list. We're looking at technically only having 2 spots left, but I have to think about taking some of my higher anime down. Like Pop Team Epic, I really love, but I don't think that it's going to make... I don't think it hangs. So let's make some spots. I think its novelty is why I gave it a 9 more than anything. But novelty on this list doesn't take you as far. But that might be the only one that I kind of question. Well, One Punch Man probably doesn't need to be on this list. We'll see. Let's do this. I have to do this now so I can kind of see how many spots I'm going to have open to work with. Possibly if I start making some cuts. Okay, let's start from there. I feel pretty solid about the rest of the stuff on the list. No Game No Life, not gonna make the list, although I like it a lot. Haikyuu probably isn't going to hang, although I like it a lot. I'm not going to say that for each of these. Obviously, if we're talking about it, I like it a lot. Amagi Brilliant Park, not going to hang. Shirobako, not going to hang. Not going to hang. Death Parade, not going to hang. Cabanari of the Iron Fortress, not going to hang. I don't even know if that really finished. Not really. Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju. Maybe. Part of me is because it's important. Part of me because I want to represent. I don't want my list to be so fucking surface level. I don't want my list to be so many Narutos, so many My Heroes, so many Shonen, and all this stuff that people have already heard about. I want some deep cuts in my mind. But also that I mean, realistically, that could be tougher when you're talking about everything that happened. To be fair, all the rest of those anime came out after 2000. They might be lower on my list, but they should probably be on the list. I don't think My Hero is going to make the top 25. Is what I'm feeling. I think that's fair for for how I overall feel about that series in the end. So let's make some more, make some more room there. I'm gonna put Showa Genroku Shinju on the list, but it may not hang. Or at least I'm gonna try. Oh, yeah, there it is. This describes it as descending stories. Maybe that's the anglicized name, which feels weird. Let me check here. Synonyms: Showa and Genroku era lover suicide through Rakugo. I don't know where they got descending stories from in this database, or is that the name of the manga? Weird. Just went on a little side tangent here to find out where this fucking... Alright, there's more titles. Okay, so the manga has the Descending Stories title given to it. Okay, that makes more sense. It was just gonna bother me. I was just like, what? But I'm not entirely sure it's gonna make the list, so I'm gonna put it down here in the maybe column. Mr. Otsumatsu probably won't hang. The Danganronpa anime will not hang. Saga of Tanya the Evil probably will not hang. Won't hang. Mostly just because that story didn't finish. Although we're getting another season next year, which is very exciting. Oh, they changed the name of this one too. Descending Stories, Showa Genroku Shinju. I wonder if this is the first season or the second season. Okay, this was the first season, and then Descending Stories is the name of the second season, or at least that's how they differentiated it here. That's fine. We're actually blasting through a bunch of these. Not blasting, but oh man, I completely forgot about BBK, BRNK, Buburinki. What's the full name? Babuki Baranki. Babuki Baranki. I forgot about Babuki Baranki. One of the first really good fucking looking CG anime. One of the early ones. Top to bottom good looking. Aijin's not gonna make it. Did I already pass Land of the Lustrous? And I just didn't talk about it. This is not an anime, by the way. This is a Flash series that technically counts as anime because it was made from a Japanese user. Also, if I don't talk about it, it's probably either one of my rules have disregarded it or something. So, Sword of the Stranger is is a movie. We're trying to look over movies. Summer Wars is a movie. Little Witch Academia I didn't mention, but not gonna hang. I should probably give it lower. I should probably give it a 7. No, wait, this is the movie. Yeah, this is the movie. The actual series I didn't even finish, even though it wasn't bad, but either way, that was a movie. Where were we? Your Name's a Movie. If I skip over it, assume it's a movie or something that doesn't qualify. I shouldn't talk more than I need to. The Kubikiri cycle. It's not gonna hang. I don't think it's gonna hang. No, I don't remember a whole lot from that series, which means it's probably not gonna hang on its own. Recreators. I like Recreators. I like what Recreators did, but it gets a little bit too complicated to make this list. Oh, you know what is a good... Let's put it on the list. Oh, wait. No, I'll put it... I see some other things I feel a little bit more... Oh, obviously. So I'm going to wait until we get down to them before I start just jumping around. Princess Principal. Not going to make the list. Not done yet. Land of the Lustrous. One good season. One of the best examples of CG anime as well. But not going to make my personal top 25. Pluto. I didn't feel strongly enough about Pluto. I appreciated it for what it was. Pluto feels like a prestige TV anime. What I mean by that is like, Pluto feels like a Breaking Bad. Pluto feels like a... What's that one show with the detective? True Detective? Pluto feels like a True Detective. Pluto feels like one of those types of shows, except it's an anime. Which is it's a cool feeling. But it doesn't make my list in terms of like the way it makes me feel. In terms of like the top 25. But it's good. A Place Further Than the Universe. One of the very few cute things doing cute things. Cute girls doing cute things shows on my list. Not gonna rise to the occasion here. Hina Matsuri, probably not, but I'll keep it in mind. Megalobox, probably not, keep it in mind. Movie. Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. It is Diet Monogatari. So not as quite as good. Not gonna make it. Vinland Saga's probably gonna make it. Even though it's not done and all that, I feel pretty solid. Or at least Vinland Saga should be in talks. With the way this list is now looking, after all of the filtering I've done, I'm a little bit more confident Vinland Saga is probably going to need to make it. But we'll see. Babylon, not going to hang, but it's cool. We finally get to Demon Slayer. I'm going to put it on the list, but I don't know if it's going to actually hang for me. It probably will. Another Konosuba. Dr. Stone. I don't think Dr. Stone's gonna hang, even though I like it. Fuck you. What's this about? I'm so sick of spam calls. I'm so sick of spam calls. I used to not... There was a good long period of time where I didn't really get them, but now... So fucking bad. So annoying and so fucking bad. I like Dr. Stone a lot, though, so just in case, I'm going to put it on the list. But as a just in case. Movie. Beastars is not going to hang. I haven't had any pull to go see the second season of it, which I part of me still wants to do. Because I apparently like. I feel like I like the first season, but I don't feel that strongly about it. So we'll see. Okay, Jujutsu Kaisen's gonna go on. That might be enough to push Dr. Stone off. Keep Your Hands Off Izoken. Not gonna make the list. Ranking of Kings. In Conversation. Ranking of Kings. Where'd you go? Yeah, there you go. And we're down to technically the last spot. But I might... Let's see, how many more? 7? Oh my god, there's so much. Oh no. We're gonna need another row. Let's just make another row to make this easier on me. We just need it. Okay, let's keep going. Chainsaw Man. Needs to be in conversation. Okay, these all need to move down. God damn it, man. I don't want this list to be a bunch of shonen. We'll see. We'll see. There's some stuff that can jump up. The first Slam Dunk's a movie. Odd Taxi's probably not gonna hang. Hell's Paradise probably not gonna hang until after it gets like another season into it. Maybe we can talk, but we'll see. Bocchi the Rock probably not gonna hang for me personally. Comey Can't Communicate probably not gonna hang, but I wouldn't be surprised if I come back to talk about it. Katara Lives Alone. Katara Lives Alone. I'm gonna try to push that to be on my list, probably. Blue Lock, man, it's another example of like the seasons after have really let Blue Lock down. But Spy Family needs to be in talks. Your boy Kong Ming, a fun side thing, but not on the same level. I should probably put your boy down to 7, honestly. You know what? Really, the reason it's an 8 is probably because of its fucking OP. Its OP gets it like a half a point, and that's enough to get it to an 8. But maybe I should probably make it a 7. I should probably make it a 7. I think I have a bunch of 8s that should be 7s in my list these days. But I was hype on them at the time when they were right after I watched them, and then in retrospect, I'm like, that show feels like it needs to get knocked down a bit. But we'll see. Suzume. Licorice Recoil. I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna hang. But I did think about it real hard. Spice and Wolf, the most recent series. We'll see. Probably not. Oshinoko. There's a good... Maybe. Gonna just be honest. Maybe. I feel like I'm in a good spot because a lot of these are gonna be skips. No, I still feel good about this. Orb on the movements of the earth. And Heavenly Delusion. Did I spell Heavenly Delusion right? Or did I spell Heavenly right? Heavenly. Yeah, I did. Do I need to put the delusion part? Put the D. Oh, but it's called something else. That's probably going to be in this list under instead of Heavenly Delusion. It's going to be... Fuck. It's been too long. Tengoku. There it is, yeah. Tengoku Daimakyo. That name really lets it down. I don't know why it's stuck so much harder. Baby Daddies, probably not going to hang. Or not going to hang. And that might... Oh no, the Apothecary Diaries. I forgot about that. That's definitely making... That's probably that's gonna make the list. Reminder, everything in these bottom 2 rows are on the cutting block. Is there anything else I could move down there? I might move Hunter x Hunter down there. I don't feel that strong about Hunter x Hunter. Personally, in this conversation. Maybe Full Metal should move down. Full Metal was very important for my anime development because it was one of the early ones, but I think it doesn't hang. I don't think it hangs with what has happened since. For me, personally. That's what I have to start thinking about, man. I really like Full Metal, but I don't love Full Metal in that same way. If I watched Brotherhood, maybe I would. There are things about Full Metal I love. There are things about Full Metal that I consider, like, foundational to American anime watching. In terms of, like, its place and everything. But for me, personally, don't think it hangs. And then some of that's going to be just like bias of recency bias, just because I haven't watched it in nearly as. It's been a long time since I've watched it. With the knowledge that this is not the best overall version of this anime, I'm gonna move it down. I need to make some cuts from even just this list, some hard cuts, so I can start making room for stuff. I don't think there's many. Yeah, there's only like a couple more rows, but I want to fit in the Apothecary Diaries into consideration. I don't think Pop Team Epic's gonna hang. I love what Pop Team Epic does in terms of format and everything. Okay, well I just said all that about Full Metal, so I think I can take that off. I should cut The Promised Neverland. I like The Promised Neverland a lot, but it doesn't. This list is hardcore, and it can't hang with such a bad season 2. And the episodes that are there are very good, but I don't think it rises to the occasion of what we're talking about right now. It doesn't hang. That's gone. Full Metal should probably be gone. I'm trying to make sure there's nothing in this top 9ers area that I'm just like too quickly popping up here. But no, I think that's Full Metal. There's gotta be stuff that needs to go before Full Metal. Pop Team Epic's probably it. I think with competition as heavy, Showa Genroku's not gonna hang. Just not for me personally, but I really think that anime matters. I wish it could, but this is... Maybe Jujutsu's not gonna hang. God, this block of anime is so tough in terms of like judging overall meaning, and I need to rethink what's happening here. But first, let me make these cuts. Let me fill out this list, and then we'll start cutting. So the Apothecary Diaries. The Apothecary Diaries is like fucking House, the anime. I gotta fucking put it on my list. The Elusive Samurai, I need to see another season out of The Elusive Samurai in order for it to get onto this list. But it's in a real fucking promising start. Really strong, promising start. Maybe I cut too hard. Oh, Dan the Dan. Should at least be in talks, and that might be it. Oh wait, Togepi's Original Sin is the last for consideration. Do I like Togepi's I gotta do it. I just gotta cut that. I gotta fucking rip that band-aid. I'm so conflicted about Full Metal Alchemist, and I just gotta not have it slowing down the rest of this process. Okay, we did it. we have whittled down around 200 anime, give or take, down to 35. Okay, so now, and that only took an hour. So now I can make this big and pretty again, or at least bigger-ish. Let's do that. Here's the thing, I can't get like the main box to be bigger for you guys, so you're just gonna have to work with me. As we take things off the bottom rows, it'll be easier for you guys to see. If I down the gap, does that change anything? Not really. That doesn't change the size either. Okay. I don't even know what show shadows would mean in this concept. Or in this context. I guess, well, if it wasn't a black background, then that would probably do it. Okay. Shouldn't need the keyboard anymore. We need to make some hard cuts. Talking about cuts. Mob Psycho. Nah, that's staying up there. Hunter x Hunter. I don't think Hunter x Hunter means as much to me personally as some of these other shows have. And also I feel like Hunter x Hunter gets its loving elsewhere. We're going to move Hunter x Hunter down to the bottom 2 rows, which will allow us to bounce up maybe Orb? Out of these bottom 2 rows, I really want to be able to put Orb on my list. Heavenly Delusion also keeps talking to me, but also Heavenly Delusion isn't done. Orb is done. Our Ranking of Kings is also really fucking good. Spy Family is also really fucking good. Is Chainsaw Man gonna make it? For now, Dan to Dan, I think it needs more time. One Punch Man is one really good fucking season, and this following seasons have let it down. But it's also kind of a bar-setting anime in terms of animation. Let's swap those for right now. This is all subject to change. Vinland Saga? I don't think I feel as strong about Vinland Saga overall. But let me look at the rest of my list and see if there's any other low-hanging fruit. Yeah, I think Vinland Saga is good, but I don't think I feel as strong about it as some other stuff down in the bottom 2 rows. You know what? If I'm going to put something of that type on my list, Orb is going to get the tip of the hat out of those two for me. Mostly because what Orb does is so much more difficult to do than what Vinland Saga has done. You know, Vinland Saga has done it very well. This is just like such a fucking tight difference in quality that I am having to like really think hard about. And we're not even to the ordering yet, but again, I think the ordering is going to be pretty okay. This part of the process that's really going to be, that has been really tough. Spy Family really pretty much always puts a smile on my face. Spy Family might be better than Konosuba at this point. We're in the middle of we're working through the 3rd season, and the consistency of its comedy, along with really great, unnecessarily great animation, might inch it out over Konosuba. But no, I think Konosuba has more that appeals to me directly, and it has its downs, but I think I laugh harder at Konosuba, while I laugh more consistently at Spy Family. Might be the thing. So I think Konosuba's gonna hang. So Spy Family's probably not gonna make my list unless really I'm just looking at knocking down one of the big shonen off the lists. What about Bleach? No, Bleach isn't even, like, score. I just want to say that out loud. Because I was thinking about the rest of the big shonen. Dragon Ball started before 2000. Bleach really needed time and all this work in order to get to the end. But it had some really weak seasons and arcs. So it doesn't hang, even though there's stuff I like about Bleach. Naruto, I think, really only has, like, the one big filler chunk after Sasuke leaves the village in the original series, and then Shippuden picks it back up, and then it's pretty solid. So it's gonna be one of the few long-term shonen that stay on my list. Even though I technically didn't watch all of it, but I still feel pretty confident about where it's not gonna be high, but it's gonna be on my list. Demon Slayer's probably gonna hang. Maybe Demon Slayer doesn't have to hang. I think I like Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man more than Demon Slayer at this point. Demon Slayer has just proven to be too formulaic. Really good animation, but story-wise, plot-wise, a little bit too simple and down-to-earth for what I like out of my anime. Jujutsu Kaisen at least makes up for that with, like, what I think is not only better animation, but more inventive animation. But we're talking really narrow differences. It's not to say that Demon Slayer doesn't look fucking great at times, but what Demon Slayer does with the power of CG animation, I find less compelling and impressive than what they do in Jujutsu Kaisen at its peak animation points, its Sakuga points. I think Jujutsu Kaisen is just like a better animated anime. But I think the characters in Demon Slayer are better / more memorable, kinda, in certain ways. When I think about the extended cast of Jujutsu Kaisen, kind of evens out again. Demon Slayer's cast is pretty small when you think about it. Should Takapi's original sin be so high? I liked it, but I feel like there's stuff on here that I liked more. Ranking of Kings should probably be on the list. It looks different. It tells a very different story. Should it be on over Kataro Lives Alone? I really like Kataro's Lives Alone. pretty much everything in the first 3 rows is locked. As in, like, locked for at least making the list. I don't think there's anything else up there that I really even question. I feel like I should, you know what? This is what I'm gonna do. Dan the Dan makes the list over Demon Slayer. I feel better about Dan the Dan than I do Demon Slayer. I think that's a good way of getting that feeling out of. I think Demon Slayer had potential. Demon Slayer earned its hype. But it coasted, man. It's coasted, and it is coasting in a lot of ways. Dan the Dan could have the same thing. Something similar could happen to Dan the Dan. We're early days in Dan the Dan compared to Demon Slayer, but the potential is still there for Dan the Dan, and I have a stronger faith in what Dan the Dan will and can do than Demon Slayer ended up doing, which is unfair on some level to Demon Slayer. Because arguably, if Demon Slayer was only 3 seasons in, 2 seasons? I'm trying to think about whatever season I'm pretty sure 2 seasons is when the Entertainment District arc technically was over. Because it was 1 season, then a movie, and then season 2. Yeah. I think... Man, I don't remember what happened. Was it... I guess the Spider... Yeah, because I think it was a 24 episode season 1, and then it's been 12 episodes since then, I think. Anyway. If only the entertainment arc of Demon Slayer was out and the rest of it hadn't happened yet, it would probably be higher / would be there over Dan the Dan comparatively, but because the subsequent seasons after that have just kind of like not impressed me, it's got to take that hit. I feel okay about that. I'm thinking about the Apothecary Diaries and how much I like that compared to some of the stuff down in the bottom 2. See if that needs to come down. Initially have the gut feeling that it needs to make the list, but I need to feel like is there anything on the bottom that I feel stronger about? At the moment, I don't think so. Other than Ranking of Kings is probably around the similar spot of where I hold it. Maybe Mob Psycho 100 covers One Punch Man in terms of why One Punch Man is on the list. Because Mob Psycho 100 probably has on par, if not better, animation than One Punch Man. So I don't think I need to have both of them on the list. Maybe I should think of it that way. One Punch Man is 12 really good episodes of really fantastic, like, groundbreaking animation. But it can't hang. Can I do this? Okay, what's the list gonna do if I do that? Do I feel that strongly about Ranking of Kings? Part of me must. It's the only thing that's been itching at me comparing looking at the bottom 2 rows. Heavenly Delusion keeps itching at me, but I think I need to see where it goes. I need more information from Heavenly Delusion. I need another season before I feel that strongly about it, because it could go to shit. start making some hard cuts. So after saying all that, Demon Slayer's not gonna make the list. My Hero. Just can't hang. And there's a lot of My Hero that just doesn't... It's a similar story to Demon Slayer. Some really good peak seasons, and then a lot of bloat. Not a lot, but some lulls. I just don't get as excited for My Hero. Even here at the very end when it's almost wrapping up. I like what My Hero does a lot, but it just doesn't hang. Just doesn't hang. Heavenly Illusion doesn't hang. Vinland Saga, I'll leave it alone for right now. Pop Team Epic, I just don't think there's room for you. Oshinoko, man, I do like Oshinoko a lot, surprisingly. I'm gonna hold off on that. Dr. Stone probably doesn't hang, even though I really wanted it to make the list. But I think my list has more important things to say. Same thing with Hunter x Hunter. Like, it also comes down to, like, I don't want my list to be so many anime that are like, well, yeah, of course you like that anime that everybody likes. So Hunter x Hunter is a good example of that. Just like, have you seen Hunter x Hunter? Then you like Hunter x Hunter. It's almost a given. So having it in a top 25 list is not saying something. You know what I mean? We kind of gave that slot to Naruto. In terms of like, well, yeah, if you watch this, you probably liked it. Not that it's like a slot thing, but I mean, like, I would swap it out for Naruto if I was thinking of trying to force it onto the list, because I just don't want too many of those. Is Chainsaw Man really gonna make it? Chainsaw Man's very short, doesn't have a whole lot out. If we include the movie that came out, I think that did a lot of heavy lifting on terms of this list. I don't think it would be in I think it had so few episodes out. If it wasn't for that movie, which is part of its story canonically, I don't think it would be as strong here. But once that movie happened, man, maybe. But there is a bit of me that's just like, maybe it's a little bit of hype that's making it hang on. It's a very... But what would I put on instead? Or just move it down just to... Put Oshinoko on over Chainsaw Man. I guess Vinland Saga. I kind of feel like Vinland Saga deserves a spot over Chainsaw Man, but I don't know if it does for me. We're gonna let One Punch Man go. We're gonna let... This is the final conversation, I think. And I only brought that down just so, like, it can be clear what's happening. Let me do this. I'm pretty sure Apothecary Diaries is going to stay, though. I'm having a really hard time untangling my feelings on if the way I feel about Chainsaw Man are wrapped up and tangled in with the hype and overall love for Chainsaw Man from the anime community versus how I feel about it individually. But Oshinoko is kind of in that same boat, even though I feel like the hype around Oshinoko pulls on me less than the hype around Chainsaw Man. I'm trying to think about the worst parts of both. And also to keep that in mind. Chainsaw Man doesn't really have any bad parts, but it hasn't been going long enough to have bad parts. Mostly it just has, you know, in between other things happening parts. Oshinoko is 2 seasons in. I think the second season of Oshinoko is almost more, has more going on. But then Vinland, so I don't think Spy Families can't make it. I just gotta cut it. The comedy slots are taken up. Right? I like Spy Family a lot, but it rarely misses, but it does miss. I just have to. I don't feel good about it, but I have to. I don't remember much from the first season of Vinland Saga. At least in terms of like what I would consider lulls, slower episodes, anime episodes that aren't as good. I don't remember as much because it's been so much longer since the first season. The second season is a different conversation. This is real hard. I want to reward meatier stuff than more candy. And what I mean by that is like more animation and pretty stuff is candy over good plot, good characters, good writing, good direction. That's all meat. Vinland Saga is better than that, kind of, than Chainsaw Man. Cinderella Grey make my top 10 anime this year? I think it did. It should have. If it didn't, then I probably have my reasons. Anyway. Man. I shouldn't be thinking this hard for what is essentially the last, what is probably going to be number 25, considering how hard it had to fight in order to be on the list. Oshinoko is a little melodramatic. Like fake drama, made up drama. But it's good made up drama with really good animation. I'm gonna give it to Vinland Saga. I think overall, Vinland Saga is a better I think it's the weakest of the three animation-wise, but it's the meatiest of the three. Plot, characters, setting, direction. The overall package is a little bit. Yeah. Okay, that's it. We're down to the 25. Now we just have to order this bitch. I'm gonna start making moves kind of where my vibes feel. Go from there. I'm not going to talk about why I'm making moves just yet until they're smaller. This initial moves are going to probably be big and just kind of vibes. I'm just like, well, this is going to go here-ish. This is going to go here-ish, that kind of thing. Free run is like a 9 that's waiting to become a 10. I just need like I need the next season of Free Run to be really fucking good, and then it could possibly be a 10 out of 10 for me. But I need more of it to determine that's becoming a 10 is like you need so many things going right. I need to be less precious about Fooly Cooly. But not that not precious. Naruto that much. I like Naruto, but maybe not that much. This feels like I'm kind of playing like a puzzle video game now. It'd be real sucky if something happened to my audio this whole time. Let me double check. Thank God. I just wanted to make sure something didn't happen to the mic and this whole hour and a half, this whole stream would be lost because I can't repeat any of this shit. Anyway. Let's keep making moves. See, that's the kind of thing, I make a move and then internally something is like, no, that's wrong. Like, it's weird how this process plays on emotions that you wouldn't be able to, like, count on otherwise. Which is why I do it this way. It makes it so much easier to just feel like, that doesn't, something about that just seems off. Is Attack on Titan better than Naruto, you guys? They have a lot of similarities in terms of, like, I mean, obviously Attack on Titan is overall shorter, but it still has plenty of episodes. Attack on Titan really doesn't have any any filler. Season 2 bordered on filler, but that was without the context of that the rest of the series added. I think Attack on Titan is an overall better show than Naruto. Even though Naruto was around, it did a lot. It had an uphill battle in terms of like length and keeping the universe and blah blah blah, but I think Attack on Titan is tighter in terms of the story, universe, myth building, world building, what I meant. I think Attack on Titan is better than Naruto overall. And especially, I shouldn't put Naruto as high on this list considering how little of it I've seen, or at least the big chunk of it that I haven't seen from the anime directly. It should probably kind of be lower on the list because of that. Death Note and Haruhi are like my fucking history slots. Like, these were fundamental in my rise through watching anime. Cyberpunk's a little high. Maybe Cyberpunk's a little high. Is Konosuba high? Is Bakuno? Probably. Is Bakuno high? I've got to really restrain myself at this point from just putting like anime that are kind of like similar next to each other and comparing that too. Because I almost did that with Bakuno and Orb. I feel like those are kind of similar feelings, so I almost moved it down just because of that, but that's not the way this works. Katanagatari. Maybe that needs to go lower. I mean, I like Katanagatari for numerous reasons. But I also don't remember a lot from Katanagatari. While there are some other anime on here that I remember extensively. It's a very special anime. But maybe not that special. Maybe March is also kind of climbing up a little bit too quick. Although I do like March a lot. Main Abyss is a weird one, because it's like, I need to know where that story wraps up to feel better about that too. Let's do this. I feel March is weird there, but I don't know what should go there instead. Which means maybe this just needs to go back here. Just to calm my soul. I'm doing this so my TV screen will fucking... Come on. It's starting to dim because it's waiting for me to do shit. There we go. Just fucking ban this person. I feel like there's a little bit of disconnect still while I look at the list, but I have a harder time finding exactly where it is. I don't know if I like Kaguya-sama Love is War above as high as it is, but then I look at the anime below it and I'm like, I don't know how far down I'd move it. It kind of feels like it's in the right spot. Is Made in Abyss too high? Probably when I think about it a little bit more. I like Made in Abyss a lot, but it has some points off for certain themes. Also, I don't know if I only feel that strongly about Made in Abyss because of the first season, because really, I never think about the second season of Made in Abyss at all. The movie was solid. The movie was good. But it might be diminishing returns a bit. I can't let parts of anime outshine the whole when we're talking about something like this. This 100% sounds like a Dragon Ball track, but it is not. I have us on the main character station on this radio website, by the way. This is 100% Dragon Ball shit in terms of how it feels. Anyway, let's not get distracted. I want to wrap this up by 8. At this point, I do kind of wish I had like a audience or somebody in chat that was just like, "You sure you want to put that high? Or are you sure that seems like that's you really feel like that about that?" Like I kind of just want someone having eyes on the things that kind of look suspect that I'm not seeing would be cool. If I had like a lot more actual chat, but it's fine. This is a process for me. I'm just kind of saying, I'm just voicing that out loud more as recognition that there may be stuff that's slipping by me in my own judgment slash, because 25 is a lot harder to keep track of than 10. This process works well for 10 because then it's very easy to kind of just be like, well, this is obviously this as a, but then 25 has added enough consideration to where I'm like, ooh. And it's arbitrary, but it's making it mean something is making it work. Should Jujutsu Kaisen be higher? I don't think so. I think this could happen even though I feel kind of sad about it. And Naruto's not that bad. I think that should happen. Was I harsh on Naruto? Should I keep climbing? I think that's right. Part of me thinks Orb feels a little high after all. Something like this. Maybe. The more I think about Made in Abyss, the more it drops. But not because it's not good, but just because, like I said, it has its problems that are just really hidden behind. Like, its problems are very hard to see behind everything it does so well. I feel like this is a list that's very much going to be like, I'll look at this a year from now and be all like, what was I doing? How did I put this here? But at the same time, that's kind of like the nature of it. close to being done. A lot of silence because a lot of thinking, a lot of processing. I'm making my way down the list. And also, no reason to make my throat even more scratchy and itchy and dry if I don't have to. I've been avoiding it pretty well without a drink. So if I don't have anything, if I'm just mumbling, not really a whole lot of reason to say stuff to a no audience. Stand it and be that high? It should. It should. Could be more than an hour though. Not yet. Not yet. Is this what's happening? Do I feel better about this? Do I feel better about this? Dan versus the Apothecary Diaries is really hard. Yeah. I think there's some slower stories to the Apothecary Diaries that get it knocked down a bit. Dan is pretty consistently solid. Apothecary Diaries is also, but also it does have some weak spots. But for where it is on the list, I think that's fine. I forget what anime the lyrics of this music playing right now would remind me of. And it might be a video game or an anime. Actually, it might be a video game. Anyway, I think we're done. Cyberpunk Edge Runner's too high. Part of me feels like Kaguya-sama's a little too high, but nah, I think not. I think this is the list. This list is weird. I don't have as many old anime on here as I thought I would have. Only like 2 or 3 stick out to me as old, which I don't necessarily like. But that's also just like a perception thing. Because I consider anything in the 2000s as old, which Death Note and Haruhi are kind of like that. And then everything else, I mean, Naruto is technically too, but it doesn't feel like it because it's stretched so far into the 2010s. And maybe the 2020s. I don't know when it ended. Shippuden ended, for sure. But, everything else here feels like 2010s and up, which I don't love. It feels like, also. I don't want anybody correcting me, but it feels that way. Fooly Cooley's also in that same realm, but it doesn't feel that old. But it really is. But I think this is a good spread. If Haruhi and Death Note were remade today, they'd probably be higher on the list. Their age weighs them down a bit, which isn't a bad thing. It just is the truth of the matter. The era they were created in was just a different era of where anime was. But man, remakes of those would be really fucking interesting. I think there's no more changes to be made. I'm gonna cut it. I'm gonna call it, just so I quit staring at the screen. I think I feel all right about this. All right, let's cut it. Let's call it. Let's be done. I don't feel any strong enough itches in my brain looking at the screen that made me be all like, oh, this needs to change. I think this is it. Okay. Let's wrap this up. We're gonna go down the list, say it all out loud, and then I'm gonna probably put all this stuff on my Facebook for people to be all like, what the fuck? Okay. So, this is my top 25 anime of the century since 2000. Starting at the bottom, we've got Vinland Saga as number 25, Katara Lives Alone at number 24, Takapi's Original Sin at number 23, Jujutsu Kaisen at number 22, Orb on the Movements of the Earth at number 21, The Apothecary Diaries at 20, Dandadan at 19, Naruto at 18, Cyberpunk Edge Runners at 17, Ranking of Kings at 16, Maiden Abyss at 15, Attack on Titan at 14, Bakuno at number 13, number 12, Death Note, number 11, The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya, number 10, Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World, number 9, Mob Psycho 100, number 8, Kaguya-sama, Love is War, number 7, March Comes In Like a Lion, number 6, Katana Gatari, number 5, Fooly Cooley, number 4, Frieren Beyond Journey's End, number 3, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, number 2, the Monogatari series, and my favorite anime of all time, never in question, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann at number 1. Alright, with that, this week is done. It only took 2 hours, which is good. I didn't want it to be 3. So next week, top 10 top 10 games, top 10 video games of the year, appropriately happening after the Game Awards tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to. Hopefully there'll be a lot of fun announcements tomorrow. Yeah, I guess that's it. I guess that there's not a whole lot more to say than that. This has been a really good century for anime. I hope we keep getting really good, high quality stuff from anime. Things are in the world are in flux, but the outlook for anime feels really good. The fact that there's so much recent stuff on this list surprised me a bit. Hunter x Hunter was like, Hunter x Hunter I could swap out for Vinland Saga if you really wanted to convince me of it, probably. But I feel better with Vinland Saga making the list. It's like stuff like that. There's like just a debuff to like, yeah, a lot of the old stuff is also stuff that everybody likes. Anyway, not gonna talk about the list anymore. Thanks for watching. Tune in around the same time next week, Wednesday, in theory, for my top 10 list. If I make any changes to that, be on the lookout on my Facebook or my social media in general. Well, really just my Facebook, if you really are that interested, or hit me up directly if you want to have a better idea for sure. But as always, my VODs are always available afterwards in the next couple of days whenever I get around to it. Probably when I go back to work and I press all the buttons to get it uploaded. So like within the week, the VOD of this should be on my YouTube channel. And yeah, hit me up if you feel a certain kind of way. Hit me up if you want to watch some of this and you can't find a way to do so. Talk to me about this list or my lists in general. It's going to be a fun month for me either way. If there's 5 months in December, maybe I'll somehow, like if there's like a 5th Wednesday, then I'll decide, although I probably shouldn't try to do something on New Year's Day. But if that's the way if I skip a week otherwise and then it has to get pushed to like that week of New Year's Eve is on Wednesday this year, for example, I might still make that happen just because like there's still nothing for me to do necessarily during the day on New Year's Eve, so maybe that still works. But be on the lookout if you're interested. Hit me up if you want to know. I'll try to put the word out as soon as I know and I'm sure and feel like it, because sometimes you just don't feel like doing this. Sometimes you don't feel like streaming. So, all right, that's enough rambling. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this down. Here we go. I will see you guys next week, hopefully.